Hi everybody, this is Oksana and this is going to be a double-sided pendant tutorial that can be worn one way or you can just flip it over. It has two bails, one on each side, so you could wear it the other way as well. I already have an older tutorial for this sort of thing. It's this one here, but it's a little bit different, like the actual design is a little bit different. And today I'm going to show you how to use painter's tape to do this. So this tutorial, besides just having a different looking bail, will actually, the technique will be different as well. But in terms of the bail, I just did the basic side swept bail that I have done many times before. One of my oldest kind of things that I do. So you can definitely do something different. If you like swirls, you can swirl these instead, whatever you want. And I did it exactly the same on each end, but you can do it differently if you wanted to have a different look, whether it's worn this way or the other way. You can definitely do your bail decorations differently. Maybe pick and choose something from a previous tutorial that you like. But this concept is going to teach you how to, lock in the stone so that you have wires coming out one end as well as the other end. So you can do bails on both ends. And we're going to use tape to get that accomplished. So if you want to see how I did that, just keep watching. My tools are wire cutters, these are the Swanstrom brand, and pliers, these are the Lindstrom brand RX 7890. This is my stone, it's a little oval amethyst. It's about an inch tall, but it's quite narrow. It's about 10 millimeters wide. So because of that size and it being as narrow as it is, I'm going to be using 21 gauge square wire instead of 20. I just think it'll be a little easier to maneuver a slightly thinner wire, but feel free to use 20 gauge, especially if your stone is larger. I would recommend using 20 gauge, and if your stone is really large, then maybe even 19 gauge. But this is the square dead soft copper, and to connect with the thinner wire, I'm going to be using 24 gauge half round for my thin wire. Both of these are from riogrande.com. They're both dead soft. So I'm going to start with 6 pieces of that 21 gauge wire, and they measure 5 inches long. So oftentimes I use a thin wire to temporarily hold things together, but today we're going to use tape instead, because maybe you want to save your wire, maybe you don't have any scrap pieces of it to use. So I'm going to show you how to use painter's tape instead. So we're going to start with 3 wires, and this is my painter's tape. It's just less sticky than regular tape, and it doesn't leave that residue. This is used for when you're painting your house, in case you're not familiar with it. And so you want to take your 3 wires and just kind of line them up nicely. Make sure they're stacked together like this, because it's square, so you have the flat sides and then you have the corners. And you're going to take your painter's tape and you are going to wrap it around kind of in the middle. I'm actually just going to tear this piece, and I thought I could kind of wrap it, but it doesn't really want to turn. So I'm just going to do that. So the middle is being held, and now you want to do the same thing with your other group of 3 wires. All right, here's my other group of 3 wires. I am just making sure they're nicely aligned. And here in the middle, I am going to hold it with the painter's tape. 1 piece and another piece next to it, just so that whole middle area is being held together. All right, now I'm going to take them both and I'm going to put one on top of each other so that the flat sides of them are together. So there's the flat side and then there's like this thinner edge. So you want it to be like this, so you kind of see just the one wire from this way, but this way you see all three. So after you put them together like this, you are going to take another piece of tape and just want to make sure they're really nicely lined up. And here, once we're kind of past that middle area, that's where we're going to wrap. Ooh, doesn't want to go. We're going to wrap that tape. There we go. All right. So what you should be able to do now that that's being held is you should be able to open these up like that. Okay, so we're gonna open them up. And we're gonna take our stone. We're gonna position it kind of right in here like that. All right, and you can put this down on a table. That might be easier if you just put it down on a flat surface. It's kind of hard for me to hold it in the air here, but I'm gonna try. So after you put it down, you just kind of bend the wires like this around your stone. So you just want to make sure that there's a gap here above the stone, like a decent gap, so we can tuck away our wire ends. And then here, as we're holding this, we're going to bring these two wire ends wire groups together. And we also want a similar sized gap so we can tuck away all our wire ends. And I'm just kind of pinching that together and just kind of going side to side to put those angular bends into the wires, and then eventually just bring them together. Ooh, that looks a little lopsided. So I'm just going to need to adjust that a little bit. There we go. All right, so once you have those coming together nicely, and this is, you know, the gap for the stone, we are going to connect this end here that doesn't have the tape, and then we'll remove the tape and work on that end. So if your tape kind of gets in the way here, you can just unravel it a little bit, but my tape actually is not getting in the way. So you want these wires to be kind of stacked on top of each other, where you have 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, but then from this top view, you only see 2, the frontmost 2, like this. But then if I turn it, I see the 3, and then I see the 2 again, and then the 3. So we're just going to work that little wire end through here and just pull on that just to kind of get that finished. This is what we have so far. We just need 2 wires for our bail. So the 2 frontmost wires like this. And then the other wires, we can separate them into the 2 that are on the right and the 2 that are on the left, like this. So for the bail, we're just going to continue with this wire and just wrap it around those 2 wires until it's tall enough to be the bail. Based on the length of our wires, it's going to be a fairly small bail here. So I'm just going to keep going around and around just like this. I'm turning the piece, I'm guiding the half round wire with my hand. The half round wire is going flat side down and the rounded side up. So just like this, keep going just like this. All right, so it's about 20 millimeters, and I left myself about 15 to be able to like connect this bail. So I'm gonna trim here on the back, and then this little wire end that's sticking out the front, I'm gonna trim that here on the front. And now I'm gonna press down on the wire end, but also just across this whole bale. Just like that. All right, so now we just need to do the same thing here on this end. So the easiest way to do that is to unravel our tape so that we can get to those wires, and then it's up to you whether you want to unravel the rest of the tape or not yet. Because the thing is, you might find it hard to get in here later. And I definitely have to at least get this tape off of this portion, because this is where I'm going to be doing the bale. All right, so at least partially removing that. And getting my little half round wire there. You can just kind of adjust this, because this is the one that had tape all around it when I bent it. So it might not have like really strong bends there. So I'm just kind of looking at it and adjusting the little bend. And now we just do the same thing, where we're going to wrap the half round wire around, make sure this is all like put together nicely. Nothing is crisscrossing, everything is just kind of laying there side by side. So I'm just going to start with a few wraps to get it nice and connected. And let's kind of work that down. Let me grab my pliers so I can just press on that a little bit. All right, and I'm going to work this little wire end through the middle here. Kind of pull on that. So same thing with the bale. The front two wires are the bale, and the other wires just go on each of their respective sides, just like that. And I'm going to continue with this little half round wire here, just wrapping around my bale wires and just turning the piece. So I'm going to try to do it exactly like the other side, where the wrap is 20 millimeters long, just so it matches the side. It's up to you. They don't have to match. It like you can wear it, you know, one way and then the other way can have a different look, or it can be, you know, very similar look. It's totally up to you, but I'll just try to get them to match. So I'm just going to keep going. All right, so this is about 20 millimeters as well. My wires are slightly longer here on this side. It's hard to perfectly, you know, center your stone in the middle. You're going to end up with slightly longer wires on one end, most likely. So just going to trim that here in the back, and then on the front, going to trim the little wire end here that we started with and press down on everything. Just like this. So now it's time to get this tape off. Let's see if I can get it off successfully. You can use your pliers to help you. There we go. One side is good. And the other side. Sorry for the very loud birds outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear it very clearly, so I'm guessing you might be able to as well. I had to leave my backyard door open because my dog kept wanting to like go in and then come out and then go in, so I just left it open for him. And now it's really loud with the birds. All right, so our front is the bale and our back is this. So if you want to grab your stone and just check All right, so we shall check the stone now. It's all good, still fits. So let's lock that stone in place by flipping over to the back here. And here on the back, we are just gonna bend these wires. Normally, I would just put a big bend in the wire, but this stone is a little bit translucent. And so I'm afraid if I do like a huge big bend, you will see it from the front. So I am doing little tiny bends. Oops, I think I was grabbing both wires accidentally. Hold on. There we go. So I'm trying to do these like little tiny bends like this. That way the wire is kind of here on the edge and will not be too visible. Because especially once you oxidize the wire and it becomes darker, that's when you can really see it through those more translucent type of stones. So there we go. Doing just a little bit of bends here. Just kind of want it to match the other side. There we go. All right, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. So we're good on the back. Let's lock it in from the front. So here is our front. Let's wedge our pliers in here. So this one's gonna be a little bit different. We are going to, you know, have our bail and stuff going on here as well. So I am actually just going to do a slight bend here like this, and then here just right where the stone is ending, just like that, and on the other side as well, just right where that stone is ending, a little kind of curve. So it traps that little edge in, and the stone might feel slightly wobbly. It'll feel better once we do the bail and the rest of the wires, because it kind of holds the frame together better and it'll just be more sturdy. All right, so for the bails, we just take the bail, bend it, put it through the gap here, from back to front, press down on that. Here's our little bail. And then here, if we're looking from the front, I'm gonna grab this left wire and I'm gonna bring it from front to back. And normally I would trim it, but it has such a short little end that you don't even have to trim it in this case. You can just take the little wire end and tuck that away. So we're kind of cutting it close with these wires being 5 inches in size. And part of that is because I didn't center my stone really well and I have like excess wires here, but then pretty short wires here on that side. But luckily it all worked out. Would definitely cut your wires longer if your stone is bigger. So I'm gonna trim that and do the other bail. Bending, putting the wire ends through, press down on that. Just be careful, your stone might still be able to pop out. Like I can feel mine if I press on my stone, it might pop out, so I just need to be really careful. that I don't accidentally knock it out of there and drop it. I already dropped it earlier before making this video. Luckily it survived that fall, so I'm going to trim. There we go. And here as well, leave myself an end. Just like that. So you can tuck that away. And tuck that away. Press down. Here's what it's looking like so far. And we are going to now do the decoration with the other wires. So it's up to you whether you choose to twist any of them or not, but I am going to twist the frontmost ones. Another thing you can do instead of twisting is you can take your half round wire and wrap it around for a textured kind of look. Just to make this a little quicker, I'm going to just twist these instead. So there's two wires, the back and the front one, and I'm twisting just the front one, and I'm going to do that here on this side as well as this other side. Let me kind of separate them out. Oops, this one's a front, that one's a back, so I'm going to do that for all four of the wires real quick. So I'm just holding the end of the wire with my pliers, and I am turning the piece to get that twisted look. All right, so that is finished. All right, so we are just gonna start by bending the right frontmost wire forward. Just kind of scooping it across this way and then turning it back to the right and bending it to the back. And then the wire next to it is going to follow suit. It's going to go right along that first wire, and then we're going to bend it to the back as well, just like that. So now we can trim, oops, wrong way. We can trim these wires here in the back and tuck away these wire ends like this and just press them in there. 1 and 2, just like that. So it's up to you whether you do everything here first and then move on to here, or whether you work better when you do like a little bit at a time on each side. I'll just finish up this whole top portion and then I'll just repeat the steps on the other side. So this next wire, the frontmost wire on the left side, the one that we twisted, I'm just kind of scooping it across, bending it to the back, and trimming it. And tucking it away. Now in my original side swept pendant video with this wire here, I also have it going entirely across and then tucking it away like this. But sometimes you start running out of space, especially with a small stone like that. Sorry, I just want to press on this one more time. Okay. It's kind of hard to find the room to tuck this wire away on the back. So if that happens to you, depending on your stone, depending on this little gap that you made, an alternative is to take the wire, and you can actually do this with both of the wires as well if you need to, but I'm just doing it with the one, to take it, put it through right here from front to back, and then here it is coming out the back. I am going to just kind of push it this way, point it in this direction, trim it. You can kind of see where to trim it because you can see where it needs to end to kind of go into the front portion of the wire, so that way the wire end is covered. So here's our wire end, and then here is the wire. So if I press down on it, see how the wire end just goes into the wire? So from the front, you don't see the wire end, it gets hidden away. So that's how we're going to do that. And now we can go ahead and do the other side. So swooping that first wire across, then we have the second wire, and I'll just do the third wire as well. I know I did it kind of separately at first, but might as well just do all 3 wires since they just are all going to get tucked away here in the back. And let's go ahead and tuck them away. Oops, I'm just trying to press one at a time, and then I'll just kind of press on all of them together. There we go. Press, press, press. Oops, my stone was starting to pop out. We're gonna have to kind of lock our stone in just a little better after we do this, since things might move around a little bit. All right, so now this wire, putting it from front to back. There we go, that looks good. And same thing here, you can just kind of eyeball it, see where it ends, in the sense that like it runs into the other wire there. So then you can trim it in that spot and press down so it's just going into the wire. And that way you can't see it from the front. So now that we've done that, the edges of the wires here are really locked in place. So I like to come in and just readjust everything because it might have moved a little bit out of position. So I'm just reinforcing these little bends that we made before, making sure that the bends are just right up against the stone. If the wire is like a little bit raised, which can happen sometimes, you can just press down on that, try to get it nice and kind of flat against the stone, reinforcing bends on the other side as well. And of course the back, if anything has changed on the back, we can just kind of press these down. Make sure there's no gaps. Make sure everything is locked in place. And then just kind of push on your stone. Make sure it feels secure. If it doesn't, you might have to bend these a little more at a sharper angle so that your wire is more on the stone, making a smaller kind of frame on your stone to prevent it from popping out. All right, so then eventually everything should feel good and secure and your stone shouldn't wobble, and at that point you are done with your double-sided pendant. So it can be worn this way, it can be worn that way. With this particular stone, you can kind of decide which way you want to wear it based on that pattern in the stone. So I think this design is especially good for stones that are not just like one solid color but have some kind of pattern, because that way you actually have, you know, a different look whichever way you wear it. And then of course you could attach a chain or something and wear it this way, like a choker, even a bracelet as well. This one might be a little bit too big for my wrist as a bracelet, but you could attach a chain to make it a bracelet as well. So this is a very versatile design. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a like down below. And don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every weekend. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.